From all over the world, this is the premier stop for all your combat sports needs. MMAjunkie Radio, the only show broadcasting live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. The lights are on and the mics are hot. It's time to get your MMA fix, junkies. Take it away, Big John.
Gorgeous George and Coach, are you ready? Junkie Nation, are you ready? Well, let's get it on.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly goes, Ari's co-host. Back east, she's back. She's producing. She's Gabulous. What's up?
What up?
Hey, boys.
Not much. Shout out to Misha Tate and Ryan McKinnell.
That was really cool.
That wasn't her last show. It was just her last show on while being in this country. She's moving to Singapore, and I caught a lot of it on the way in, and I thought the whole team did a great job. Some special call-ins, and that was really, really cool. Misha's a very valuable piece of the Fight Nation family, so we wish you the best, Misha Tate, out there in Singapore. You and Johnny Nunez and your little baby, Amaya.
So cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. I had to babysit once while she broadcasted.
There's a outside of the studio.
Yeah.
I remember that. When you move to Vegas, especially in the MMA community, it's like a giant puzzle, right? And everybody plays this different role. And sometimes when people leave, it just kind of gets filled by somebody else. But in her case, I feel like it just kind of stays open because there's not very many people that you could go, that person's a lot like Misha. Like, Misha's just kind of unique.
She's very unique. She's very, very nice, humble, like a sweet gal, and at the same time, driven to be a world champion, to a mother now, and a hard worker in the gym, a leader, amongst, think about how many females she brought from different parts of the country and kind of created a little bit more of a women's MMA team at Extreme Couture, a presence. And she does solid work on this show, or excuse me, on this channel. Caught her
on the show too
many times. She's co-hosted our show for so many years, and just been a joy, to be around, and just a great friend overall. And a lot of people, look up to her, and she's a mentor for a lot of people because a lot of people don't know, but she's also a manager out there, in the MMA world. She manages some fighters, and I think she's a great representative of the different brands that have, worked with her. We had a great weekend with her out in Virginia when we went to go visit the troops. I thought she did outstanding with them. So like I say, I've seen her on many different fronts. Remember the seminar that she did?
On the base?
Yes. Yeah. So it wasn't. So it was.
That was pretty funny, actually.
It was pretty funny. We had a soldier come out, and she gave like a demonstration on some basic tactics. If you ever feel like somebody is on the verge of approaching you and doing some harm to you, and she did very, very well with that. So like I say, she's probably been in Vegas for about 10 years now, and it's been great to have her here. And I know she'll be back, but for now, she is moving to Singapore, and we wish her the best.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, so let's get a few little particulars out here. And the new phone number to call in is 877-FIGHT-93, 877-FIGHT-93. Well, maybe not so new, but still. You can also call in by just going 877-344-4893. That's Fight 93, basically. Tweet us at MMA on SiriusXM. And we have a couple guests headed your way. Michael Johnson in the first hour, UFC lightweight. He fights on Saturday versus Josh Emmett at the UFC Philly show. We have Randa Markos in the second hour, UFC strawweight. She'll be fighting, excuse me, she just defeated Angela Hill at the UFC Nashville show. So one guest each hour. We'll have plenty of pockets for you to call in. Again, that number is 877-FIGHT-93. Now, to start off, I think we're going to do something we haven't done in a while. Usually we're TMZ-ing it over here, goes. With all of the news from outside the octagon these last few weeks. We haven't really had a chance to dabble too much.
That's been our sport, though.
In the X's and O's matchups that are being created, rumored or now created, and breaking down fights, recapping fights, and that's fine. This sport never is predictable. That's for sure. The big news of the day is a couple fight bookings that took place. Jon Jones versus Thiago Santos. That fight is booked. That fight's going to be taking place at UFC 239, which is July 6th here in Las Vegas, International Fight Week. I swear I didn't want to say his name until the second hour, but basically I think that's where they were trying with Conor. And remember I told you, negotiations. I don't think it's a retirement. Maybe that would have been the spot he occupied. I don't want to call this a plan B because, hey, man, Jones is right up there. You know, some will say at the top, but in terms of, athletic ability.
But
so
was
him
it
defending,
a move in the chessboard? Was it a move?
Could
at
be.
the UFC on the Conor McGregor chessboard.
Could be.
Was that a move?
Could be. And what I don't know, because this just happened literally in the last hour as I was driving in, is this the main event? It sure looks like it, because in the article that I see on Junkie, it says co-headlining the July 6th card at T-Mobile Arena is Amanda Nunez. She defends her title against Holm. So if they're co-headlining, then I imagine Jon Jones is headlining. Now, Jones had teased a fight versus Stipe Miocic. I thought that's what we were going to talk about.
That was the plan.
Because remember, we game planned the show, and that was a few hours ago, and in the last few hours, a lot of things switched. I want to give a shout-out to ESPN.com. They're the ones that broke this news. So Jon Jones versus Thiago Santos, and co-headlining July 6th is Amanda Nunez versus Holm. So anything you read about Jones versus Miocic, Twitter, whatever, well, maybe down the road, but not in their next fights. Anything you heard earlier this week or maybe last week, DC versus Lesnar, I don't think it's going to happen here, because I guess if it does, then now Jones and Santos, I guess, would be the co-main event, and that starts. See how the little questions start to get answered. DC's back, must not be 100% yet, or maybe Brock Lesnar isn't going to be ready to go. Conor McGregor more than likely is not going to be on this card, so now we start to push out into August, and then those are new rumors, or that's a new cycle of news.
Yeah.
But at least as we're closing in on International Fight Week, those are two big fights. That's how you start a card. Now, there's still another title fight to discuss. You ready for that, or you want to digest this a little more?
Let's digest a little bit more. What are the positives that came out of this? Okay. Jon Jones is fighting again.
He's active, yeah.
Right? That's something that everybody's been always asking for. Santos is a quality opponent.
Yeah.
He's probably who a lot of people, I think we did a daily debate once, and I think he was the top selection, right? To be next.
Yeah. So I don't remember the exact results.
So I think a lot of people are okay with the matchup itself. Let me ask you this, though. For that weekend in Vegas, is it sexy enough? Because that's usually a big one.
Hell yeah.
You think that's sexy?
Well, Jon Jones, he's the man.
Yeah.
So if he's fighting, whoever you throw him against, I mean, that's how good he is that we're just saying, we're basically saying whoever you throw him against, almost like that person doesn't deserve to be there. That's just how great he's been. But Santos, if I look back here, he beat Eric Anders, Jimmy Manuwa, and Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz and Manuwa are been light heavyweights for a long time. Anders hasn't. Okay, I'm not trying to say anything bad about him. But Blachowicz and Manuwa, okay, because remember, this is a division that's pretty rail thin. And Jones has eliminated a couple people right away. First, Anthony Smith, and the other one was Alexander Gustafsson. So there's not many names that remain. Now, Corey Anderson may have a problem with this because he's got 3 solid wins. And he did have a little bit of a campaign. But remember, if you're not much of a talker, then you better be exciting. And if you're not much of a talker and you're not that exciting, then you got to come up with win streaks. Yeah. And others need to lose. So Anderson's not much of a talker. He's started to pipe up a little bit more on social media recently. As far as his performances, his early performances in the UFC weren't stellar. Even the wins, even the losses, he was more of a grinder, a guy that would just beat you up, but over time and not necessarily with any flash. Pizzazz. Now, lately, in his last 3 wins, I've been very impressed. He's going out there and he's putting it on people. However, could that have been too late, especially while other fighters are going out there and just blasting fools? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Santos has been doing, blasting fools. And it looks like that 2-horse race, because remember, Santos isn't much of a talker either, but he's been blasting fools. And I think that's what the UFC likes is, you know, hit some check marks. This is what we want out of you. And you got to hit some of these check marks, and it looks like Santos hit the right ones.
But does it have that, the hardcores know who he is, who Santos is?
Right.
But do the casual fans, like, do you, I guess what I'm asking you is, will people buy tickets just because of the name Jon Jones?
Yeah.
Or does he need a dance partner? Because
Well, the
for some
dance
reason,
partner
I
doesn't
feel like he
hurt.
still needs a dance partner.
The dance partner doesn't hurt. And that's a quality co-main event. Amanda Nunez versus Holly Holm. I mean, you got arguably the GOAT, the women's GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I don't even think it's much of an argument now.
Yeah, let's just say
She's it.
She's the GOAT.
She's the GOAT versus Holly Holm, a super popular UFC. Well, let's give her proper due. A former boxing champion, a former UFC bantamweight champion, and also one of the more popular figures in women's MMA.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is a nice 1-2 punch. That's how you start a card.
But here's what I was doing, was I was setting you up. Because now I'm going to throw this out there. If you had a choice to go see those two fights.
Oh, and this again, the whole,
yeah,
the 2 rooms.
Or, well, first of all, you were the last one that brought that up. Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes, Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Ai. Which one would you go to? What card? If it's just those two. That's where they're starting. They go, George, you got to buy tickets today. Come on, let's go, let's go.
I can only go to one of the 2 cards.
Yeah.
All right, so Goes is revealing one thing we were going to talk about, and that's Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes have agreed to fight at UFC 238 in June in Chicago as part of that Valentina Shevchenko Jessica Ai card. All right, to answer your question, Cejudo versus Moraes, that's awesome. Shevchenko versus Ai. Ai's going to be formidable. Shevchenko's very impressive. And then the others, man, I think I think the one in July.
Yeah?
Yeah, not by much. It's a photo finish.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hardcore. The casual fans is going, come on, man. The casual fan barely knows some of the other fighters. Everyone knows Jon Jones, good or bad for whatever he's done in the sport, in or out of the cage. Everyone knows Jon Jones.
I feel like the Cejudo Moraes fight should have been here in Vegas.
Why is that?
I don't know. It feels like it. Jon Jones is going to go down as one of the GOATs. Just depends on how you look at it. But it's hard to argue that he's one of the best fighters that ever stepped in the octagon. But for some reason, the way this is outlined, it just doesn't have that. I don't know. I feel like it lacks a little bit of oomph. It makes sense.
The main event, the co-main event, or the combo of the two? Man, you're hard to please. You don't like that?
I do. I'm a hardcore. But I bet you ticket sales are going to be rough.
Really?
Yeah.
It's International Fight Week.
I know.
And then there's going to be a tough finale, more than likely. So an MMA fan should be here. Whatever's left of an expo, a Hall of Fame. Man, 2 title fights?
Mm-hmm.
The Russian judge over here.
Only because those 2 fighters, Amanda Nunez and Jon Jones, are so dominant that the matchups just, I don't know. It just doesn't have that, just that little bite to it.
But both challengers,
they're great. No, they're great. The UFC did a good job.
sets.
I'm not saying that they did a poor job in planning this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I don't know.
But you would agree that both challengers have skill sets that are going to threaten the champions.
I mean,
for one, Santos can knock anyone out. Let's start with that.
Yeah, but we've said that a lot about people that face Jon Jones.
True.
The only thing that'll really get me to go crazy for a competitor against Jon Jones is either somebody that can match him in length and size, kind of like Alexander did, which he handled, by the way, or a top wrestler, someone like that, right? Like a Daniel Cormier. But other than that, I just feel like, oh man, it's that same. We're recycling that same opponent again.
Jones can dissect
right
anybody because of his length, his reach, his experience, his skills.
Mm-hmm.
But every time he steps into the zone where the other guy can touch you, he has to be cognizant of his defense. Now, Gustafsson, of course, he's more of a volume guy that can put you out that way. But one punch power, of course he hits hard. Of course he can probably knock anyone out. But not like Santos. I think Santos is a little bit more of like he can catch you at 75%. But with his type of power, you could be in some trouble if he hits you in the right spot. So that's what makes it interesting. Holm has great stand-up skills coming over from boxing. And then let's not forget, what really put her on the map was those head kick KOs. She became a formidable kickboxer. And Amanda obviously has more accolades on the ground, but man, she's out there throwing heat. So it's throwing heat versus someone that likes to throw heat. She's going to be challenged. So I like the start of that card. I have no problem with what I read.
All right. I'll break it to you one last way. There's times where you look at a card and you go, oh, my God, I can't wait to go to that card. I can't wait to see how that fight plays out. And then there's sometimes where you go, oh, my God, I got to go to that card because I can't wait to see these guys. Jon Jones and Santos is more of the I can't wait to see these guys. I just like going to a card that's got big stars on it, right? But there's certain matchups that you just like. And that matchup just isn't that type of matchup that makes me go, how is this going to play out? And it's probably because Jon Jones is so good. That make any sense?
Yeah, but
where Cejudo and Moraes, I'm kind of like, okay, Moraes.
Remember how Tyson
can give him some trouble here? This is very interesting. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Remember how Tyson used to smoke people?
Yeah.
But everyone ordered it because you wanted to see him smoke people.
Mm-hmm.
But you also didn't want to miss the time that someone smokes him, because
True.
at some point in time, only the hardcore fans ride with you all the time. If you don't like, I was a fan of Mike Tyson, but I wasn't his hardcore fan.
You wanted to see him get used?
No, but after a while, you're like, oh man, isn't there someone else that can? I wanted someone to challenge him, and if he beat him along the way, I wasn't going to shed a tear because he's not like my neighbor, my best friend, my relative, or nothing like that. But I respected what I saw, and it was amazing, and I put down my money. No problem. If I saw him walk by, I'm asking for a pick. That dude's the man. Much respect. But I think I reached a point where it was like, you just get tired of the Yankees, Manchester United, the Patriots. I don't give a fuck about the Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. But I remember when people would ask me, I'd be like, I've had enough of the Patriots. Give me the Falcons. It didn't make me a Falcons fan. I just had enough of the Patriots. So you tune in for Jones because you want to see if he continues to add to it, or if someone finally has his number.
Okay.
So that's why I said. Remember, I said it was a photo finish.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying
I'm not calling anyone's crazy.
I'm just saying, me personally,
you're more of a Chicago guy.
I'm more of a Chicago guy.
Well, let's look at the card so far with what they built in Chicago. Henry Cejudo versus Marlon Moraes for the vacant. We got to go on break soon. For the vacant bantamweight title. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai. Tatiana Suarez versus Nina Ansaroff. Solid. Tai Tuivasa versus Blagoy Ivanov. Felice Herrig versus who the hell? Zhonan Yan. That's the other Chinese young lady that can fight. Not Weili Zhang. Caitlin Chukagian versus Joanne Calderwood. All right, cool. The other one, UFC 239, 1 month later, has Jan Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. Thiago Santos versus Jon Jones. Holly Holm versus Amanda Nunez. I still like 239 a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. We got to take a break because our first guest is coming up. His name is Michael Johnson. Fights in the UFC's, lightweight and featherweight division. So we'll talk to him about his fight coming up here at UFC Philly when we come back after this break. It's UFC MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation, Channel 93. Stay close. Do not touch that dial. All right, starting things off is Michael Johnson. 19 wins overall in his career. He's won 2 in a row. He's going to be fighting this Saturday at UFC Philly. Johnson has wins over Dustin Poirier, Joe Lazon, Tony Ferguson, Gleison Tibau, Edson Barbosa. Hell, Edson Barbosa's headlining. Michael Johnson gets down. His opponent is Josh Emmett. These are featherweights. And Johnson joins us now on the hotline. What's up, MJ? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good, my man. Did we catch you before you start that weight cut? Are you still in a good mood, or are you starting to get moody?
It's a little bit of both. I'll do one more. It's a little bit of both. Just in this weight cut, chilling, playing some Uno, some spades with the guys here in Philly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up spades, because Uno's not really, that doesn't really elevate your street cred.
Uno's tough.
I mean, we're playing Uno right now. You never know. Uno could be a record game.
Nothing feels better than dropping that draw 4 on somebody.
You might as well
say a big old smile on their face and you go, bam!
You might as well have said Yahtzee, though. Yeah. I mean, dominoes, okay, spades, dice.
Nah, man, I'm an Uno guy.
All right, well, maybe I missed the boat then. Who are you playing with? Who are you taking? Are you guys taking people's money or what?
No, we're just friendly game. Me and Greg Jones, Desmond, Sean Soriano, got my guy John, massage therapist up here, my boy Jon Jones. So just keeping it greasy in Philly.
All right. So you have Josh Emmett coming up. There's been a Josh Emmett who did a number, for example. When he debuted, he looked really, really good, and then Josh Emmett in his last fight, things didn't go his way. When you prepare for fighters, do you just prepare for the best Josh Emmett you've ever seen? Is that how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not looking at his last fights as to who he is. I hope I get the best one that comes in there. I hope I get a guy that is not afraid to fight after a knockout like that, and he's not really worried about it. He comes in the best shape of his life, and he's ready to fight because those are the guys that I like to compete against and fight.
Right. In fact, I mean, since you've experienced being, on the losing end of a fight and having to come back, do you remember those times when you came back off of a loss? Were you more hungry? I know you were more hungry because you wanted to get the taste of the L out of your mouth. But at the same time, when you come off a win, you feel like you're in a groove, like you're unstoppable, like you're confident. Which Michael Johnson's more dangerous?
Yeah, I think the one that's been winning is more dangerous. I'm more relaxed. A relaxed Michael Johnson. I'll take him, any day of the week. When I'm relaxed, my mind's right. I don't have to put pressure on myself to get a win. I go in there and I fight the way I need to fight, and everything is history.
But will you look at any footage of Stevens just to see where he was able to capitalize and see if you can put down the same stuff on Emmett as well? Like, where do you limit yourself on the video, watching the videos?
Oh, yeah, I watched his fights. I was just saying I don't really look at video of see, if he loses or if he's winning or not. I'm looking at how he's reacting, what he's getting hit with, and things like that. So I've definitely done my little homework. I'm never going to go into a fight without any, previous, things in my opponents. So, but Jeremy caught him with a lot of shots. They had a good fight. He dropped Jeremy in the first round, and then after that, Jeremy was hitting him pretty easily. So, I'm going to take a few pages out of that book.
You got like twice as many fights as he does. So one would think, oh, my God, the young lion's chasing down the old lion. But you're younger than him by 2 years. So how about that, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's great. And you could say old lion because of veteran, absolutely, man. But I always tell you guys all the time, I still feel like I'm in my early 20s. My mind's great. I'm in great position, in great shape, and just ready to get what I let slip through my fingers years ago, and let's get up to that title fight.
All right, and I'm sure the fact that these fighters, that we named earlier, like Ferguson and Poirier and Barbosa, you don't need reminders that you belong. I mean, you have them already. You've proved it by beating some of these names. I hope you don't forget that. You know what I mean? Even when you have gone through some of your bad spells or whatever you want to call them, you really are one of the most exciting fighters out there, one of the most dangerous fighters out there. Because if there was only one name, we might go, well, maybe he got lucky that night. But those are solid skins on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate the support you guys always give me. And I do, I always keep that in my mind that, hey, like I've fought the best of the best. I've beat some of the best of the best. And, Josh Emmons is no different. I'm saying he's in the top 10 for a reason. I'm not overlooking him because I have so many more fights than he does, or he hasn't nowhere near fought the level of competition I have. So, I was just looking at another fight, and we need to go in here and go to work.
Can you believe you're closing in on 10 years in the UFC if we throw in The Ultimate Fighter?
I know, right?
Yeah, you're
an OG. Wow, 10 years. I guess we need to call up to the head office and tell them how long your boy's been in here doing this consistently.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty hard nowadays to find guys that have been in the UFC for this long and have fought consistently for as I have.
Yeah, exactly. Would you say that you've had a fun 10 years, a bumpy 10 years, or how would you describe your tenure with the UFC?
I've had a blast these last 10 years, man. It's just me living my life, enjoying it, enjoying fighting, enjoying the process, and, just enjoying the journey. I'm always looking forward, I never, looking back and worrying about the little bumps and things because it has been a bumpy ride, but that's life in general, man. Everything's a huge roller coaster. Like, shit's going to get dark and gloomy before, the sun comes out, and you just got to deal with that, or it doesn't, and the sun comes out right away, but then it's going to get dark and gloomy. So I'd rather take the way it's been given to me, and I just keep moving on.
You've only been knocked out once. What do you attribute that to?
My toughness, and I wouldn't call that a knockout. I mean, it goes on the record as a TKO, but he ain't hit me with no knockout shots, man. In that fight, I fell down to get out of the way of his shots, and the fight gets called, and, that's one fight that I'm definitely going to look to get back. But so to me, I haven't been knocked out, and
you're right. I worded that wrong.
Yeah, I know. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. But it's just what it is. It goes on as my record as a TKO.
Yeah.
But that's what I got to deal with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, I just got to get out of the way of those shots, and not really worry about getting knocked out.
Yeah, I actually meant it more as a compliment. You're right. The KO and TKO is kind of like a KO/TKO, but this will be your 33rd fight, and everybody was making a big deal, and they should, that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, that was his first KO, and but you've only suffered one TKO, and you were very competitive in that fight. But I guess what I was trying to fish at was, do you attribute it to just good defense, you have good reactions? You're not easy to hit.
Yeah, I credit a lot to that. Actually, it's funny. I credit a lot of it to my brother. Actually, when I was little growing up, he used to knock my ass around so much that I'm like, man, my brother outweighs me by like 200-something pounds, and he can't knock me out. Like, ain't none of these guys my size can do anything to me. So, and I just look into it, and you got to have that grit, man, and that determination to where nothing's gonna deter me.
Right. Well, shout out to your brother. What's his name?
Elvis. Yeah,
Elvis?
I was the second. Yeah, named after my dad.
Oh, you said Elvis, like the singer?
No, Elvis with an A.
Oh, I'm sorry. Elvis, got you. All right. Let me turn it over to Goes. Here goes. What do you have for Michael Johnson?
Michael, if you look back to those early days in UFC, I'm sure there were times where you would meet some of these guys and maybe lean on them for a little bit of advice. Everybody has a tip for someone. Now you're kind of that guy where the newer guys in the locker room come to you. They ask you for advice. Being able to fight this long in the UFC is very difficult. Not very many people can do something like that. Is there like one key to success that you can hand over to the next generation when they ask you those type of questions?
Yeah, man. It's like I said it previous. Just stay consistent. If you lose, don't dwell on it too long because it's only going to be there for as long as you're dwelling on it. So you got to get past things, man. You got to move. You got to move past the wins as well. You got to get ready for the next guy. You just got to keep progressing, enjoying the process, and stay on the same track. You can't really afford too many distractions in this game.
Michael, we hear fighters all the time say they're learning new things about themselves every fight. For you, if you look at like fight week, what we're in right now, how different is it for you now compared to what it was in the beginning? Some fighters say that they're a lot more angry, and then as they get older, it's just more chill. Like right now, you're playing Uno. Well, what are the differences in Michael Johnson of old to Michael Johnson today?
I don't train as much, man. I'm not like one of these like young guys with all this like energy. I don't want to just run around and jump around and this and that. It's like, no, man. I've learned that you got to be relaxed. You have to chill. Your mind has to be clear. You don't need to get so worked up. You don't need to necessarily put on a show for the fans. That's one big thing I've learned, man. I put on shows for the fans. That was kind of my point, to put on a show for them. And then after that, it's just, you learn. It's like, hey, no, the most important thing is get in here, get a win, get out, unharmed, unscathed, and ready for the next one.
Right on, my man. Well, whether you intend to do it or not, you are very entertaining, at least for this fan. So go out there and do your thing on Saturday. Good luck versus Josh Emmett. Thanks for squeezing us in on Fight Week. It's always great to catch up with you pre- and post-fight. I think we've done that for pretty much every fight you've had, so I'm glad we were able to catch up.
Uno.
What do you say?
Uno? Did you just drop Uno on someone?
I said, yeah, I got one card left.
All right, man. We'll let you go to your game. Thanks for the time, Michael Johnson.
No, all good, but thank you guys, man. I'll definitely put on a great show for you guys always. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, that's what's up. Take care. Follow him on Twitter, folks, at @FollowTheMenace. That is his Twitter handle. He will be fighting Josh Emmett on Saturday at the UFC Philly card. It's also UFC on ESPN2, Barbosa versus Gagey, or UFC. Oh, that's it. Yeah, or UFC. I tell you this because a lot of people like to follow the hashtags, or a lot of people like to reference all the different fights. So yeah, Junkie, we're calling it UFC on ESPN2. But if you want to learn more about the card and all that, I know many of you go, to Twitter or whatever, and it's listed in many different ways. On Junkie, by the way, we have a rumors tab. If you hit the rumors tab, we have all the cards there, and then you can find out, like, hey, what time does this start? Who's in the main event? Who's in the co-main event? Like, example, it's Edson Barbosa versus Justin Gaethje, main event. The main card starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN with Shayman Moraes versus Sodiq Yusuff. I can see that there's 6 fights on the main card, and the co-main event is David Branch versus Jack Hermanson. Michael Johnson and Josh Emmett is the 3rd fight from the top. That's the featured bout. There's also another quality fight, Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Michelle Waterson. Now, there's also prelims on ESPN at 5 p.m. Eastern start time. So that's 2 Pacific and 4 Pacific for prelims and main card. Now, they're all on ESPN. They're just separating them by prelim and main card. But they're really all on ESPN with the exception of the first 3 fights. Those are on ESPN+. That's Mark De La Rosa versus Alex Perez. Sabeena Matzo, the same lady, what do they call her, the Colombian queen or something like that? Yeah, she, from LFA. She's going to be fighting Marina Moroz. And then Ray Borg is back. He hasn't fought in a minute. He's fighting Casey Kenny. Those 3 matchups are on ESPN+. They start at 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Remember, going back to the Fox era, those Fox shows used to start a little bit earlier. ESPN is also following that blueprint. Now, speaking of this card, Goz and I will be doing alternative broadcasting for the main card on Sportscaster. So make sure you catch us. I told you guys about it yesterday. I'm reminding you guys today, www.sportscaster.com/MMAjunkie. Goz and I will be doing the call. So it should be fun. We have a little chat in there. You can ask us questions, and we'll be answering them, and we'll watch along with you. It's sort of like a fight companion.
Very much so.
I think you'll enjoy it.
People will dig it.
Now, let me spell out Sportscaster for you. It's SPORTSCASTR. There's that last E is missing. Look for us at www.sportscaster.com/MMAjunkie. All right, thank you to Michael Johnson again for his time at Follow the Menace Twitter handle. I think we got another break coming up, and then we'll be back with some more MMA news. There was another matchup that we wanted to talk about when we come back. Plus, we got our daily debate. So don't touch that dial. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on Fight Nation, Channel 93. Every one of Westwood One's coverage of NCAA tournament is on SiriusXM. The Sweet 16 tips off tomorrow. Get your radio ready now by setting up your presets with these channels. Your home base for all of our coverage is ESPN U Radio, channel 84. If you have a Sirius radio, you need to find the channels on 135 and 136. If you have an XM radio, the games are on channels 201 and 202. You can always find the game channels online at SiriusXM.com/college basketball schedule. Speaking of presets getting lined up, don't forget that on April 4th, Fight Nation moves from channel 93 to channel 156. Don't say we didn't tell you. You don't want to miss out on MMAjunkie Radio, Luke Thomas Show, Busted Open, At the Fights, and, of course, MMA Tonight. So make a note of that. April 4th, we switch over from 93 to 156. We'll still be Fight Nation. All right. Now it's time for the Daily Debate.
The brothers Garcia seemingly can't agree on anything.
Everybody knows it's duck season.
Rabbit season.
Duck season.
Rabbit season.
Whether it's food,
Less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
Tastes great.
gambling,
Always bet on black.
I like red.
Black.
Red.
Black.
Red.
Black, dummy.
or even social media,
Instagram.
Snapchat.
Instagram.
Snapchat.
the same applies to the biggest stories in MMA. Time for MMAjunkie Radio's Daily Debate.
Today's hashtag Daily Debate for at MMAjunkie Radio. What is Ronda Rousey's biggest accomplishment to date? Here are your choices. Olympic medal in judo. First UFC women's champ. WrestleMania women's main event. And, of course, there's other, in case you can think of something else. Go ahead, Gus.
Well, at first I was thinking Olympics, but lots of people have done that. Then I thought UFC champ being the first one. But a lot of people can point back to, well, that was a different era, right? If we were to look back at guys like Royce Gracie, they still command a respect. But don't we all kind of go, but that was a different era, and this is a new sport now. I think you could maybe do that with women's MMA. However, for me, headlining a WrestleMania, we've seen a bunch of these WrestleManias, and we've never seen women take command the way they have today. I think that is huge. I know it hasn't happened yet, but I think it's going to be even bigger. And I know she's going to perform because she's been able to on those big stages that I just outlined. I think that's going to be the biggest for her.
She's 1/3 of the headliner, though.
Still, she's carrying that, I think.
Think so?
I think so.
Over Charlotte and Becky, to me, seems like the most popular. Well, sorry, the one that's popping the most out of all of them. I would say Ronda's the most popular, but I would say Charlotte's the most decorated. But
I don't
Becky
think
right
they'd be
now
there
is
without her.
it. I mean, so much that we don't even call her the woman. We say she's the man.
Yeah, but I don't think they'd be there without her.
Okay?
So
Well,
I
I
think
would
that
say
one.
judo. You kind of said, well, there's been other Olympians, but let's specify here. This is judo.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe I should have brushed up more, but America's not a judo powerhouse. I don't remember us that way. I know that there's Kayla Harrison and in the Olympics and Ronda Rousey, but I've watched my fair share of Olympics, and I don't know that we're like, it's all Americans, 1, 2, 3, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think that's pretty amazing because think about it. For 4 years, think about all the Americans that battle to get on just the American team, and then when you get there, you got to battle all of the best in the world to be one of the top and be at that podium, and she accomplished it. So in 4 years, she was one of the ones that was able to stay healthy, compete, win any types of prelims, and then get to the biggest stage out there and perform. WrestleMania, huge. That was a good point that no one else has won the main event. As soon as you said that, I go, oh boy, I'm in deep doo-doo right here. But
Just wait
I
for
feel
my
like
rebuttal.
her popularity has also, having that much of a social media, you'd be a fool if you were Vince McMahon and said, nah, we don't want to really feature her yet. I mean, a lot of it's from, not to diminish her wrestling skills, because she's held her own. She's tough. I've seen her, she's bled and been beat up, and she goes out there like she's been doing this for her whole life. That's how amazing she is. But a lot of her popularity kind of got her to the front of the line as well. So, I mean, look, they're all amazing accomplishments. And it's incredible that neither you or I are arguing first UFC women's champ. We're actually on kind of on the outskirts of it all. But I would still say the judo. What's your rebuttal?
Well, here's my thing. This is the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook. If Ronda Rousey's walking through here and people go, psst, 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 look, it's Ronda Rousey, nobody's going to say, you mean the Olympic medalist? Nobody's going to say that. they're probably going to point towards the UFC champion, and there's this new crop of people that probably only know her as the pro wrestler. And they go, oh, my God, the pro wrestler, she's going to be headlining WrestleMania. I'm telling you, man, for what it takes, okay, in wrestling to even make it to a WrestleMania, to be on their main card. I mean, you hear stories from wrestlers and how much it meant to them to finally make that big show.
Mr. T was on it.
And then to be ahead of it, that was WrestleMania 1, man.
But I'm just
Give me
saying.
a break.
And
he is Mr. T.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It
It was a little bit of the popularity at the right time, you know. Versus rock and roll. Rock and roll was brought into it. There was some spitting going on.
This is huge. And she hasn't even been there for that long. Not to mention, that would be, if she were a male wrestler and did that, people would go, wow, that's a big accomplishment. Are you sure we should be giving that to her? Let alone a female carrying a female match at the top of WrestleMania? That's got to be gigantic.
It is. Now, same thing. Mandalay Bay, she walks by with her gold medal. Hey, let's
She's now a gold medal.
Excuse me, with her bronze medal. And we go, oh man, let's take a picture with that Olympian with the. You're making it sound like, oh man, there'll be a few other chicks come by with medals. I mean, there's not that many of them that hold these medals that are Americans as well.
True, but judo
that was
doesn't
like pretty
pop.
big for the United States. You know what I mean? That's I would imagine. I imagine that if you asked her, she's still the most proud of that.
When we were here for March Madness, did you see anybody walk up to the front and say, hey, can you guys switch it over to judo? It's just not popping that way.
Well, you're talking more about the popularity of the sports, though, versus the accomplishment, is what it says right here.
Look, if you said that's the way she feels, it wouldn't shock me.
I mean,
because of a lot of her life was put towards that. Okay, as where a small portion of her life has been put towards wrestling. But I guarantee you, the Ronda Rousey training for the Olympics probably had the TV on Monday Night Raw at some point and probably dreamed of someday being there and thinking, there's no way something like that would happen to me. And here she is.
All right. Well, it still has to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. It. I believe the WWE has pretty much made that official, that they will headline this WrestleMania 35. I think they're on out in New Jersey. They're calling it New York, but still. Here's how Junkie Nation voted it. They went number 1, first UFC Women's Champ. Number 2 at 64%. Number 2 at 24%, Olympic medal in judo. 8% said WrestleMania Women's Main Event. 4% said other. I don't know what other could be. What is other?
Is there a heist she pulled that we don't know about?
I don't know. I don't know what it could be, man. But I would say this. First UFC Women's Champ. If you'll recall, she was the Strikeforce champion, and they said you are now the UFC Women's Champion. So it was a little bit of a little bit of the right timing that, you know, she didn't win it off anybody. We have to go to Strikeforce, who at the time was housing the best women's fighters out there, and look back at the accomplishment. And who she beat for the title? Miesha Tate. Very respectable. That was a very respectable win. You know, her first title defense was Liz Carmouche. But I was, I guess, more impressed with the Miesha Tate win versus because remember, just prior to that, we'd see her at Tough Enough here in Las Vegas, amateur MMA, and all of a sudden, boom, Strikeforce champ, all of a sudden, boom, UFC champion. Pretty incredible ride she had there, too. And I can see why an MMA show, an MMA website asking this question would get that, but I think you and I did a good job of proving them wrong, in my opinion.
I'm thinking if there's a fire, right, and the medal's here and the other 2 belts are here and she can only take one, which would she take? Maybe under those circumstances, maybe your medal wins. But I still think in the long run, the WWE thing will be bigger for her. But
we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we can have her on the show sometime and ask her that question. There you have it. There's today's Daily Debate, brought to you by Gorgeous George and Goes, the MMA Junkie Radio team.
Us.
All right. Let's see here. Let's talk about some of the big news that broke today. We talked about it earlier in the show, but I think we should repeat the big fight announcement. Jon Jones will defend his UFC light heavyweight title versus Thiago Santos at UFC 239 on July 6th. That's big news on 2 fronts. For one, it's a quality main event on the biggest stage of the year for the UFC. Now, I know I say that, and in previous years there have been other cards. New York's a very formidable location for the UFC, and they go big over there as well. And UFC 226 was here in Vegas. It wasn't on International Fight Week, but that's the one that broke all kinds of records with Khabib and Conor McGregor. But still, International Fight Week is huge because of the Hall of Fame. They have 2 cards. They have a fan expo and things like that. And that's why I refer to you that way. Also on that card is Amanda Nunez versus Holly Holm. So that's a nice 1-2 punch right there. And we also have Luke Rockhold is going to be fighting Jan Blachowicz on that fight card too. Now, UFC 238 is 1 month before, and it's in Chicago, Illinois on June 8th. Henry Cejudo versus Marlon Moraes has been added to that card. That's for the vacant bantamweight title. Going back to last week, TJ Dillashaw had an adverse finding on one of his tests at his last fight in New York versus Henry Cejudo, so he has relinquished his bantamweight title, and that's why it's vacant. And looks like the UFC is going with Henry Cejudo versus Marlon Moraes. I'm already seeing call-outs between Munoz and Pedro Munoz and Aljamain Sterling, and if they were smart, they'd get on that Chicago card just in case anything trips up.
If the UFC was smart, they'd put him on that card.
Exactly, yeah. Valentina Shevchenko, she defends her title versus Jessica Eye. So that's a pretty solid matchup. And did you see Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley?
No.
That happened as well in the last hour. Excuse me. They're going to be fighting at a fight card coming up in Milwaukee. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it since it's fresh. You just heard it now. Are you feeling it?
Well, the first thing I try and think about is, does it make sense?
Right, because it's a rematch.
And I can't remember what matchup we were pointing to the other day, but we were saying it was nice because it was a kind of a buy yourself some time match, which essentially it's the same thing with Tyron Woodley. It both buys. Man,
look, they're both.
Okay.
Let me break it down to you like this: the first one happened quick. We didn't really see it play out. Woodley just smashed him. He took his title away, and then he went on to have a successful title reign. Now, we want to see these guys throw a little bit of leather, right?
Didn't sound like she sneezed.
At you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not fans of rematches that just don't need to happen. Does this one need to happen? They're both technically coming off a loss. Milwaukee is where Woodley trains at Rufus-Sport when he's preparing for his fights. He's from St. Louis, but, you know, okay, Midwest. Lawler's also had some Midwest ties. I think he was early on California, and then for many years, Bettendorf, Iowa, and then lately in Florida, you know, living in Florida. But do you have a problem with it? That means no Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler. So
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I didn't feel like that needed to happen right away. I'm okay with that, and I think it's smart on the UFC side. As far as the matchup, I don't think the matchup needed to happen, but it's one that's entertaining. We were talking about those 2 cards earlier, and if something like that were to pop up on a card like that, I think that's what both of them would cut. They need that extra little oomph matchup, and that's an oomph matchup.
Here's another matchup. Mike Perry versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira.
Fun.
In Florida.
Pretty much when you have Mike Perry, anybody you match him up with.
Neil Magny versus Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Shane Burgos versus Cub Swanson.
Very good.
I like it, right? Yeah. Good day of breaking fight matchups, keeping some of these fighters busy. All right, folks, we got the top of the hour break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93, soon to be Fight Nation Channel 156. That happens on April 4th. But for right now, we're Channel 93, and we'll be right back in about 60 seconds. We got a visitor from Extreme Couture here. We're going to talk to Enzo Perez when we come back. All right, we're back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Can't emphasize this enough, but on April 4th, we will become Fight Nation Channel 156. So start marking it on the calendar and get your presets ready. However, if you don't touch the channel alone or at all, you'll be okay. Just a lot of people like to forecast. Speaking of April 4th, our next guest, Enzo Perez, he's fighting on April 4th at M1. It's the road to M1 in Phoenix, Arizona versus Nick Alwag. Welcome, Enzo Perez. How you doing?
Thank you. How you doing? Thank you
All
for
right,
having
my man.
me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity.
No, we're excited about it.
Thank
And Cubano.
Cubano.
Yeah,
100%
born and
Cubano.
raised. So I know how athletes are bred in Cuba.
Yeah.
For one, there's a lot of amazing athletes that have, graced combat sports in general.
Yeah.
I'm older, as you can tell.
Yeah.
So I've seen them get down in wrestling.
Yeah.
I've seen them get down in baseball. I've seen them get down in boxing. And I know that MMA is going to have a lot of Cuban fighters, not just present, but going in the future as well. In fact, we had a great sit-down once with Yoel Romero where he explained to us in Cuba how it works when they size you up and see where they think you would do well.
Yeah, in what sport you would do well based on your height, based on
that was an interesting
how agile
conversation.
you are, and they pretty much go to school, to public schools, and recruit you.
Yeah,
and then you're 7 years old and you're already looked at as the next prospect to win an Olympic or something like that. And they start treating you like it.
Yeah,
and you have certain responsibilities at that age.
Yeah,
to do things for the glory of the country. That's how it works in Cuba. Everything is for the glory. Everything is for the president. Like the glory, all the wins, everything is for the country.
And I don't remember exactly what Yoel started off. Was it baseball or soccer? It was another sport.
It wasn't. I think it was something else.
Yeah, he didn't like wrestling. Wasn't his love. It became his love when they realized he wasn't as good for baseball or soccer. Who knows what it was?
I think it was boxing, actually.
Was it?
I think his brother boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might have been
6 years
boxing.
ago, so I'm a little hazy on the details.
I think it was actually boxing.
But look at that. His second love became wrestling,
Yeah.
and he became a silver medalist
Yeah.
in the Olympics for Cuba and a gold medalist in the World Championships for Cuba. So
he beat Cael Sanderson. Cael Sanderson
four times, I think.
Cael Sanderson had the longest win streak in college wrestling, and right now he's the head coach for Penn State, and Penn State is probably
they won it 5 years in a row.
Yeah,
and
they won the NCAA
7 of the last 8 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
this year they lost it, but before this year they won like 7 years in a row the NCAA wrestling championship, and Yoel Romero beat him, so that shows what level he's at.
Yeah, well, it looks like you follow all the different combat sports.
Well, Yoel is a really good friend of mine.
Oh,
he's
cool.
someone I look up to, and he always gives me his advice. And he's been there before some of my fights. He's giving me that last push, like, hey, let's do this.
What's the best advice he's ever given you?
Hit him right in the mouth.
Oh, yeah? Aim for the mouth?
Yeah, he told that to me right as I was walking out, because he cornered a fighter before my fight. So as he was going back to the locker room, I was coming out, and he just looked at me, and he's like, hit him right in the mouth. And I was like, shit, hell yeah, let's do it.
I like that advice.
So you know what I like about Enzo? Every time I see him, I've only seen him twice, but he's got that bling. And if you look at his bling, it's 2 boxing gloves, which I think is legit. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, but MMA, isn't he MMA? But you train with one of the best boxers.
Okay.
Can you flip around your...
Yeah.
Check that out. Isn't that cool?
That is very cool.
So who do you think he trains with, boxing-wise?
Well, I know.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Casamayor.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist in
Olympic
Barcelona.
gold medalist, Barcelona,
and then,
92.
2-time champion,
Yeah.
WBC super featherweight.
Yeah.
And then WBA and Ring Magazine.
Fought Castillo. That was... Fought Castillo, fought Garcia, fought a lot of people. Fought everybody.
Didn't almost sound like you said, fuck Castillo. Like, whoa, what you got against Castillo? Fought Castillo, yeah.
Fought Bradley.
He's going to hit you right in the mouth.
Fought Bradley, fought... who else did he fight? He fought Marquez, too.
Tough guy.
Yeah. Fought everybody.
What's it like training with him?
It's good. He keeps it real. It shows you pretty much what it's like to... just what it's like to have achieved the highest level and still be humble, be like a normal person. He's not walking around like he made $33 million like he did. He's just the complete opposite. He's walking around and he gets to the gym and he's just saying hi to everybody. He's shaking hands with everybody, and he just brings that positive attitude and energy to the gym. And when it comes to being a coach, amazing coach. Without a doubt, got my striking to the next level.
All right, now I know he's off camera, but my man Marvin's here. Can you fix that, guys?
Yeah.
Tweak that if you can. What's up, Marvin? How you doing?
How you doing?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm always good when I come here.
How did you and Enzo meet?
Enzo, I knew his mother for a while, for over 10 years, and so he was a little lad. Now he's all grown up and beat people up. So definitely watched him as he was young and watched him grow up, and I wanted to kind of help him out, give him the little push to get him to that next level where he deserves to be. So that's how I've known him for quite a while now. So he's a good kid, and he's gonna kick a lot of asses on the way up too.
That's Marvin from the Bourbon Bar. He hosted the Junkie Gathering in 2017, and of course he played some flag football with us. He was our superstar running back, quarterback, wide receiver.
We played flag football.
Kind of did a lot for the team there when we played against Extreme Couture. Where were you that day? We played against Extreme Couture.
Oh, I think I wasn't in this country. Maybe I was in Cuba taking a break or something like that.
It was MMA Junkie against Extreme Couture.
I might have been in Cuba.
And get this, we scored first. So Tavares and Nixick, those guys were scared, man. We were balling. And then they scored a few TDs, and I think we got it to 4-2. They were winning 4-2, and we drove and we scored. They said it didn't go over. We were stealing the momentum. But Johnny Nunez played, Eric Nixick,
Boston Salmon.
I wouldn't want to play against those guys.
Boston Salmon played, and Boston Salmon had a fight coming up, and I think he tweaked his ankle, right?
I guess it's okay to say now, but
it was years ago.
No, I think it was his knee.
His knee?
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, shit. Can you imagine having to go to Dana White?
But he might have been faking it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. He just kept laughing the whole time. I'm like,
who knows? Yeah, but we played them, and then after a while, I think just the superior conditioning. Marvin had to go. Have you ever heard of a football game where the star player goes, I gotta go.
I gotta bounce.
Yeah, like Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I got
an appointment.
Yeah. So then from there we started falling apart, and but it was fun. It was really, really a fun time. Cool. And
that sounds like extreme. It sounds like extreme. It's like every very family oriented, They do things like that, like barbecues, flag football. So it's a team. It's very united. It's cool. It's cool to be that close with the type of guys that train there. It's like for example, yesterday I saw just an example I can give you guys. Joseph Benavides, and he hadn't seen me in like a week, and it was like he's just seeing his his baby brother in 3 weeks. He was like, oh, how are you? Blah blah blah. And this is Joseph Benavides. This is a guy that's gonna fight for the UFC title probably after this next fight, So like people at the top,
he's a real humble guy.
Yeah, exactly, very humble guy. He actually went to Cuba, and
oh wait,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Joseph Benavides. He went to Cuba, and he went to places very close to where I'm from. So we have like that connection now. Also, like he understands where I come from. He sees like the conditions that my people, the Cuban people, live in, and I think he understands me better now that he went to Cuba and he saw Cuba. So yeah,
I got a good example of what he's talking about. That family of Extreme Couture.
Okay.
Did you see the video yesterday of Big Country's little kid wrestling with Francis Ngannou?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That was very cool.
That's what it's like,
awesome.
man.
Ngannou's a giant.
Yeah,
man.
He looked like a dinosaur out there, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's a big guy. That's what it's like. Pretty much. As fighters, everybody has kids and stuff like that, and that's exactly what you will see coming. That's not just for the video. That's the reality of the gyms like Extreme Couture. You go there and you will see like the fighters with their kids just hanging out on the mats, and the kids are used to it. They understand like, oh, people are working right here. Let me stay in the corner so I don't get run over by one of these animals. And they're like they understand what it's like to be at a gym at that young age. So it's really cool.
Do you have the MMA Junkie app on your phone?
I don't.
You need to get it.
I need to get it.
And
I'll
here's
download
why.
it.
I'm gonna break news to you. I want to get your reaction. Jon Jones is fighting Thiago Santos. Did you hear the news?
Oh wow! No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in
that'll
July for International Fight Week.
That'll be a good fight.
It's the first time you're hearing it, Marvin?
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
That's gonna be a
same
big one.
card. Amanda Nunez versus Holly Holm.
Wow.
She's defending her title.
Big fight.
That's a nice 1-2 punch there.
Yeah.
Co-main event and main event.
That's a really good fight. I'm actually really nice friends with Amanda Nunez. She's really cool. Every time she comes to Vegas, I used to train a syndicate when I was a little younger, and Amanda Nunez was always would always go there, and very humble. Before she beat, right when she won the title, the very first title that she won, she went to Syndicate the next day. She just hugged everybody. She told thank you to everyone. Really humble champion. I like Amanda Nunez a lot as a champion. Only nice things to say about her
right now.
Yeah, only nice things to say about her. Yeah, very humble, very hardworking, and down to earth. So.
And Cejudo versus Marlon Moraes is official. They're fighting in Chicago 1 month before.
Wow, that's a really big fight. That's a really Marlon Moraes has been killing the game ever since the World Series of fighting days. Now he's doing really good at
check
at
out
the
Enzo,
UFC.
man. He's like, Romero beat
Gets it?
Kyle Sanderson in the World Series of Fighting. Marlon Moraes.
Well, that's
He does a lot.
in a way that's what happens when this is what you do for a living. You know, like this is I breathe this. This is what I do. I'm not in this game to win a few fights and say, oh, I had like 2 professional fights. No, I'm in this to be world champion, and I'm in this to be a legend.
I love it. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
But
no
see,
doubt.
you're 23, right?
Yeah, 23.
Usually 23-year-olds.
Just turned 23.
Just turned 23
Yeah.
years old. So usually 23-year-olds just please don't take this wrong.
No,
I don't
not
want to
at
get punched in the mouth. But I don't know that they embrace some of the older stars. Because
Yeah.
Romero's almost double your age.
Yeah.
And what he accomplished against Kyle Sanderson,
Yeah.
this was in the late 90s.
We're talking
early
history.
2000s. That's
I wasn't
history.
even born, pretty much.
Right, and so you took the time to study it and learn
Yeah.
it and remember it and everything else. Trust me, there's been a lot of 23-year-olds that are like, if I ask them, you know who Hoist Gracie is, they're like, I think I've heard of him. Whatever. But it's good that you embrace the past as well.
Well, it's like I said, like I've been wanting to do this my whole life, ever since I was 6 years old. This is all I've done my whole life. I've been a fighter my whole life since I was in Cuba. Same situation that Romero explained to you guys. Same process. And yeah, this is pretty much what happens when this is what you've been doing your whole life. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know about other things, but all my interest and all my main focus is in fight related topics.
Was it ever just boxing? Like, did you ever have that feel?
Yes. At first it was boxing. And then we came to this country, and I was a little smaller when I was younger, and my mother wasn't okay with me boxing. I wanted to fight at a very young age. I'm talking 7th grade. I wanted to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I was like probably 84 pounds, something like that. My mother wasn't okay with it, so I was like, I'll join wrestling. I'm gonna end up doing MMA anyway, probably. So I'll just do wrestling. My mother is not letting me box right now, and I want to do some type of fighting, so I'll do wrestling. And that's how my wrestling career started, pretty much because of not being able to box at the time. And yeah, I just
This was high
kept
school?
fighting. Yeah, before high school, but yeah, I got into high school as well.
How'd
And
you do
then,
in high school?
I did really good. My total score was 350 wins and 50 losses, all 4 years. I wrestled all year round at Spring Valley High School. My senior year, we took 2nd in the whole state, and took 2nd at national. So only good results as far as wrestling. Changed my life for the positive.
Do you know Jorge Masvidal?
Yeah.
So he's part Cuban, part Peruvian. We're
Yeah.
Peruvian.
Okay. Cool.
I think we can concede the 3-piece combo side is probably the Cuban side, right?
Yeah.
You got a good 3-piece combo?
Yeah, I got a good 3-piece combo.
With the soda too?
Yeah, with the soda. just let somebody try me, man.
All right. So funny enough, I want to ask you this question. Let's have you move your mic back up, though.
Yeah.
I always ask the in-studio guests, can you share a good street fight story with us?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily proud of it, but I can definitely share a good street fight.
From the mean streets of Las Vegas, or this back in Cuba?
Well, I got plenty of stories. I can tell you one from here, from Vegas.
Okay.
My 8th grade year in high school, in middle school, 8th grade, a guy was picking on me, blah blah blah.
At school?
Yeah, at school. He wanted to fight.
Why?
I had a reputation for being a good fighter. You know, we used to hide in the bathroom and fight in the bathrooms of middle school.
Okay.
You know, somebody will be on the lookout and we'll be in the bathroom. Sometimes we'll go body shots. Just who run, who over, just hitting each other in the body. Sometimes we'll full on fight.
Okay.
And I kind of built up a reputation in middle school. And this guy wanted to pretty much prove himself. He was like, mad dogging me. I was like, whatever, we'll fight. And I actually fought him.
A bathroom fight?
No. It was like after school fight, you know.
Oh, Jack in the Box?
Yeah, after school we went. Like I said, I'm not proud of this. We went to some houses so nobody will break it up. The whole school was following. Everybody knew that this was happening. And I actually knocked him out. And
well, tell us the fight. Don't you set it up? What happened? So you guys get
like,
there.
Well, it was like we got there,
take
and,
off the chains.
and nobody, you're in 8th grade, so nobody really wants to throw the first punch,
Yeah.
But I was like,
was
man,
was he bigger than you? You were 84 pounds, right?
Yeah, he was definitely bigger than me. He was Puerto Rican. I'll never forget. He was Puerto Rican, and yeah, I threw the first punch, and actually after a few sequences, I knocked him out. And I kept punching him a few times, and I broke his nose really bad. And he actually did something that I wasn't planning on. He went back to school after looking all beat up and made me look bad, and I got in real big trouble.
Oh, really?
I got kicked out of school, but yeah, all that.
So that surprised you? You're saying usually in these fights you're not supposed to go to school so you don't get the other guy in trouble, or?
Well, if we're agreeing
or you're
to fight,
embarrassed that you don't want everyone to see?
if we're agreeing to fight, the way I look at it, this is like we're talking like street mentality now. Since you're talking Jorge Masvidal, if we're agreeing to fight at school, like outside on the street, the last thing I expect is that after we fight, you're gonna go back to some type of law enforcement and get me in trouble, you know, or
I agree.
Or like snitch
He
on me
should have
or
just said I
whatever.
fell off my bike.
Yeah, he should have exactly.
Like Daniel Russo?
Yeah, and then I would have said, well, how come your hands aren't hurt? But yeah, you're right.
You know, he shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that if it would have been different. The last thing I would have done is go back to school and say, oh, I got beat up by someone. Like, nah.
Mm-hmm. All right, tell me about one in Cuba.
In Cuba, man, every day we'll fight in Cuba.
Really? So if I go visit Cuba, I expect to get in fights?
Yeah. You definitely.
Did Joseph Benavidez get in fights?
I hope not.
I thought I was gonna see beautiful beaches and have some great
Well,
food.
that's
a bodyguard.
That's the tourist side of Cuba.
Oh, okay. Tourist side's safe.
Yeah, the tourist side is safe. But if you go to the reality of Cuba, to what the people are going through every day, there's fights every day, especially in my neighborhood.
So what happened here? Let's set this one up. What happened in this one?
Let's just say, like I said, it happened every day. School is over in Cuba 4:20. So you already know if there was trouble during the day, I'll catch you at 4:20. So you already know at 4:20 when school was over, you go outside and just crap it out. It happened plenty of times. I remember one time in specific, my family still teases me about it. There was a fight, and
after school.
Yeah, no, this was actually at night. It was at night. I was just playing with my friends, and pretty much two guys from another neighborhood, they come and they pick on me. I was playing with my friends.
How old were you?
At this time, I was in the 4th grade.
Okay.
So I'm talking young.
Yeah.
These guys come and pick on me. One of them comes from behind.
They were boys as well, or they were men?
They were boys.
Okay.
They come from behind, and they hit me. One of them hits me from behind.
You didn't see them coming?
I didn't see that one coming. I was pretty much confronting the one in front of me, and there was another one from behind. So I run up the street to the trash can. I sprint up the street to the trash can. I grab 2 bottles. I break them. I break the bottles, and I start chasing these guys. This is me in the 4th grade. Yeah, 4th grade. That's the type of mentality that you run into a kid in Cuba. That's what you'll see. It's just like pretty much how it is. It's not something I'm proud of. You know, if I'm in the 4th grade, I probably should have been worried about other things like, I don't know, playing with a soccer ball or something. But that's what it is.
Man, that's not a 3-piece with soda. That's like the bucket of chicken right there. When you start doing
family
bottles.
style.
It's different, and I feel like that's why sometimes you see like that Cubans bring something different to the fight game, even sports in general, but even to the fight game, because that's the type of stuff that we grow up on, and that's a reality.
Now, be honest with me here.
Yeah.
If you're at a club or just on the street
man.
and somebody bumps you, are you out of the stage where you go, let's get down? Or is it still in you? You know, like, is it in your fibers? Like, at some point,
100%.
You want to shake it off, you know, but
100% is in me.
Yeah.
100%. Like my first reaction is always like, man, but I control myself because I have people at home waiting for me, and getting in trouble at a club is definitely not worth. Well,
I like hearing that.
First of all, I don't go to clubs for that reason,
Yeah.
because I know I have a temper, so I just don't go. That's how I avoid that problem. But when I do go, for one reason or another, a birthday or a special occasion, and I run into some type of trouble like that, I control myself, because I have family at home that depend on me. That will be very disappointed or very damaged if I got in trouble on some type of street fight or something like that. It's just not mature to do.
But that's a mature answer.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about your family.
Well, I learned, like I said, I learned from my mistakes. Like I told you, the last street fight that I told you here in Vegas, that's the last street fight I got into.
The school one?
Yeah, the school one.
Oh,
I got
okay.
into all the trouble that I was going to get into that day. I'm never getting into a street fight again.
Well, tell me about your family.
My family, well, right here I live with my mother, my baby brother, and my girlfriend.
Okay.
And we're very united. Everybody else is in Cuba.
Okay.
And yeah, they're my everything. That's the reason that I do everything for. Just fight for them.
How old's your brother?
My brother is 6 years old.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's 6 years old.
Man,
He's
that must be
already
fun for his older brother to be performing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're still starting out, but
yeah.
I'm sure the stages will get bigger
Yeah,
and bigger and
exactly.
bigger. So he must be your
understands
number
it
one
now.
fan.
Yeah, he understands
What's
it
his
now.
name?
Gianni.
Yeah,
he understands it now. He knows what I do. He, like, when he plays with me, it's like play fighting. Like, he knows, oh, Enzo's a fighter.
Yeah.
He's been to my fights since he was a little kid, and he understands. He knows that I have a fight. You know, we show him the poster, and he's like, Enzo winner. You know, so he's already started wrestling. So we're gonna start him young. I started at 6 years old, so he's already had to start too. Keep him out of trouble, keep him focused.
This is awesome. So you wrestled in Vegas.
Yeah.
So your Vegas roots are starting to get thicker and thicker. And doesn't seem like in any way you've forgotten Cuba. You still have family there.
Never. It's pretty much like I have like 2 really big crowds.
You can fly in and out.
Yeah.
Forgive me if that's too personal.
No. I can fly in and out, no problem.
Because I know like someone like Yoel is a different story.
Yeah, it's a different story.
Yeah.
He was an Olympic athlete. He was pretty much on their contract,
Well, they say I think call it defect back then.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
He can actually go back and forth
nice.
now he can. But there's certain penalties.
It's possible that when he was here, he couldn't do that, right? Because I think he referenced the sun.
Yeah, I think he couldn't back then.
Yeah, but I know that things are changing, and now Americans can go in there. I think the embargo.
Like Southwest goes there now, right? The airline.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Southwest goes to Cuba now.
They have flights. They have flights there. They don't have direct flights from Vegas, but from South Carolina they do. From Houston they do. From Miami. These are all places that you can fly to Cuba. So it's possible. I think you pretty much, like, if you're an American, you gotta have a reason to why you're going. Like, you're there to support a certain project, like some type of humanitarian project. Like, I'm going to Cuba because I want to give water to the kids, or I'm going to fix like an art museum.
So we're in the process of still.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I know before you used to have to go through Jamaica or Mexico, and then you couldn't get your passport stamped because on the way back you might be in some trouble.
Exactly.
But I haven't read up on the laws recently.
Now it's a lot better. Everybody's being able to go. Some people are still very scared because they don't understand how it works. But I encourage everyone to get educated and learn what you have to do, and check out Cuba. It's a great place to visit.
Enzo's fight will be on the UFC Fight Pass on Thursday, April 4th from the Quechuan Casino Resort. He's facing Nick Alwang, and that's a bantamweight fight, 135 pounds. It's road to the M1 in Phoenix, Arizona. So UFC Fight Pass, I'll make a note of that. Tell me real quick about Nick Alwang. What's his style?
I don't know much about him. I don't like to dig too deep into my opponents, but I know he's a dangerous striker, and I'm prepared to fight a monster. That's what I'm prepared for. I know he's gonna come in tough. He's the local kid. I know he's gonna have a lot of pride.
He's a Phoenix guy?
Yeah, he's a Phoenix guy. I know he's gonna have a lot of pride. In this fight, his people are gonna be there. But I don't think he knows like how many people from Vegas are gonna be there supporting me as well. Oh yeah.
How many bringing?
I don't know, but a lot of people are gonna be there. No, a lot of people here from Vegas.
So you have a lot of friends and family that are.
Yeah. I have a big following when it comes to fight time, because people should see like how much I put into this and how much everyone around me puts into this. So when it's time to fight, people just close their eyes and they're like, I'm going. I don't care if I have work. People they don't care when when Enzo fights. People want to watch for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You guys should be. We've been working hard. Me and my team.
Who's your coaches that'll accompany you on the trip?
Okay. For this one, it's gonna be Alexandre Almeida. He's an active fighter for the PFL.
Wolverine guy.
Yeah. He's an active fighter for the PFL tournament. And then my judo coach from Cuba, and then my jiu-jitsu coach from Cuba. So that's who's gonna be in my corner for this fighting specific. And we're ready. We've been working really hard. We're gonna get this win, no doubt.
Can't wait.
Do you have a nickname yet?
Yeah, New Religion.
Can I give you one?
You can give me one.
How about the Piranha?
The Piranha?
I'm going to tell you why, right? You see blood and you swarm in on it like a Piranha. Piranha's got that, like, the top, and it goes with your last name.
I don't know.
Enzo Piranha Perez.
Enzo Piranha Perez. Maybe we'll grow into me, man. Enzo Piranha Perez.
That's all right. I want to wish you the best of luck with the rest of your camp.
Thank you.
It's been fun having you here.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see this fight. But more than anything, I think you have a little bit of that it factor. Like, it's really been enjoyable talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I mean?
Thank you guys for having me.
So I think you're gonna even get more comfortable as things go, and hopefully your career plays out, nicely. But
thank you so much.
Please keep in touch with us.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm
definitely.
in Extreme Couture. I try to hide in the background. I watch the pro practice, but say hello or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Let's keep in touch. All right?
Again, thank you guys. I'm very humble, very blessed to be here in this show, and I appreciate you guys for the opportunity.
You got social media?
Yeah, I got social media.
What do you got?
My Instagram is @Enzo Perez MMA.
That's easy.
My YouTube, same thing, Enzo Perez TV. And my Twitter, Enzo Perez MMA. My Facebook, Enzo Perez. It's everything is pretty much the same in our platform. I'm always active. Try to be in touch with all the fans. Try to reply to everyone. Try to respond to all the messages. And yeah.
Cool. This has been fun. Thanks, Marvin, for setting it up.
Anytime. This guy's a beast. That's why we brought him.
Right on. All right. I guess it's break time now, right, guys?
Yeah.
We got to do that. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM. Fight Nation Channel 93. Don't forget, we got Randa Markos, UFC strawweight, coming up towards the bottom of the closer to like 9:40 Eastern, 6:40 Pacific. So stay close. We'll be right back. We still got more news to discuss. Tonight at 10:30 Eastern, the Los Angeles Lakers step onto the court to face the Utah Jazz on NBA Radio, Series 207, XM86 is streaming on your phone, and at home on Sirius XM connected devices and speakers. Goes, I think the Lakers were plus 15.
Plus 15?
Yeah, that is a lot of points. They say double digits in the NBA. Come on, that's too much, but I guess the Jazz just hold. They can hold their home court pretty well, and the Lakers we know have been struggling. But I would advise to take the Lakers, man. Plus the 15. Come on, man. We can't be that bad. And if we are, someone please call me tomorrow and laugh your ass off. Right in my face. There'll be nothing I can do about it.
Just wait till next year.
Yeah, exactly. We're reloading.
Get your shots in now.
We're reloading. That's what we're doing. Gabby, who's your basketball team? You got one? Brooklyn Nets or what?
Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan, I guess. I actually had this whole debate with Luke on his show because I like March Madness better than I like the NBA playoffs.
I do too. So I think you do too, right, George?
That makes me insane.
Well, the first 2 days of March Madness are pretty crazy.
Yes.
I mean, I love it, and I love being here with my friends. The playoffs play out over 3 months, so if you're comparing that first weekend versus 3 months of playoffs, that's tough. Because there was 1 year goes. Remember when there was a lot of overtimes in the NBA playoffs?
About 4 years ago. I think it was.
And let's not forget, we're Lakers fans. So literally, while I've been alive, I kid you not, while I've been alive, I've seen 10 world titles.
Laker titles.
Yeah, Laker titles. I've been to 2 Game 7s when we won it. So, yeah, the NBA is pretty special to me on that front. And so it's just been a dominant franchise. It doesn't suck to be a Lakers fan, that's for sure. But anybody who can't boast that, like I imagine the Warriors of late, if you're a Warriors fan, you're tickled to death the last 4 or 5 years, especially as exciting as those guys are. If you're a Spurs fan, I think you can say, hey, I've had a good run too. They've won 5 titles since 1999, if I'm not mistaken. So you're not going too many years without competing, you know. And when you're not winning it, did you make it to the finals? You still got to tip your hat to the team then. Did you make it to the conference finals? It's still a good season, you know, but we got a little bit spoiled there.
So if you're a college basketball fan, Gabby, we were talking about this, I think, during the break.
Yes.
She said if she were to come to Vegas, what would be a good amount of days? At first she said a week. I told her, you cray. That's way too much. Maybe 3 to 4. But if you come with a bunch of girls, I would come out the first 2 days of March Madness, watch that.
But they got to be done with they got to be done with March Madness.
No. You tell them to stay home.
Not all my friends like that.
They stay home. You enjoy March Madness, go crazy, then recover one day, and then the girls come and then get 2 days of Vegas.
Oh yeah, I see.
Do that. So there is nothing like March Madness in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
It's nuts.
Yeah, or pick an MMA weekend if you're really. I mean, if it's just a job, okay, I get it. But if you're starting to embrace combat sports, especially MMA, then for sure come out when there's an MMA event because that's pretty nuts as well.
Yeah, I got to make a trip up there. I feel like all my friends go for bachelorette parties and stuff, and everyone's like, that's not the whole experience. That's a cool experience, but you got to do other shit too, or it's not fun.
There's a lot going on in this town for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I think our Conor McGregor update. Remember in the first hour I said I didn't want to mention him until the second hour because we were talking about him a lot. But basically our update, he still has those allegations of sexual assault out in Ireland back in December. And he's still technically retired. I keep hitting refresh on Junkie to see if, with all these fight announcements, Conor McGregor's not in one of them. What does appear is that he's not fighting on International Fight Week. But that doesn't mean he can't fight 1 month later. I mean, the UFC has a pay-per-view every month. But it looks like that ship has sailed. Maybe it's a negotiation, ploy or whatever. Hell, I'd have to look back and see. I don't think that most of his fights have been on International Fight Week, so it doesn't really matter. When Conor fights, it's International Fight Week again, where, it's that big, honestly. So he can make his own International Fight Week. There's just no Expo or Hall of Fame, but that dude's all about the Benjamins.
But right now I'm going to talk not to George, but George's gut.
Okay.
And what does your gut say? Does it say Jon Jones getting that fight on that weekend? Is that a chess move on the Conor McGregor UFC chessboard?
Correct.
Or is that just, hey, Conor's retired and life just goes on?
No, that's a move by the UFC to show that,
The
UFC
timing,
is
all
a
of it.
train that doesn't stop for anybody. Now,
I
gladly
think maybe
call
you're
us if you want to fight in August, or if not in September, or if not in October, or if not in November or December. I think December they do 2 times. That's why there's like 13 sometimes. But it's basically 1 a year usually.
Does it hurt him? Is he sitting back going, oh,
no, because
they
UFC
got me?
226 was in October on a random week. It wasn't even Columbus Day. It wasn't even Halloween. It wasn't anything. It was just October 6th of 2018. And guess what? They sold 2.4 million pay-per-views. I'm sure the T-Mobile was sold out. I don't remember what the gate is. I just can't quote it right now. Well, fuck. It's not that hard.
But if
I'll
those
figure it
numbers
out.
come back and they're not sexy numbers, now granted this will be different though, because we're used to our Dave Meltzer numbers and all that, right? But let's just say buzz, all that. If it's not big, is that a victory for Conor McGregor on his side?
If what's not big?
The sales that day. If that arena's not packed, if there's not a lot of buzz.
Oh, for this one coming up.
Yeah, for Jon Jones.
Yes, but I don't think.
Because the UFC made that move, right?
Right.
We don't need you. This is what we did. But they also have to perform on that day. Because by not putting them on that card,
It
you're
won't be
probably
like having.
sacrificing
It won't
a
be
lot.
like having Conor on the card.
I know, but if you could still get a lot of buzz, right, and a lot of talk, it's good enough.
Yeah, I think Jon Jones.
But they do have that pressure of having
when
to
John,
do it.
yeah, we're gonna call it the equivalent of. We won't call it straight because I don't know how this new era is gonna run with all of the pay-per-views running through ESPN. It will turn people off. So I don't know exactly how that's gonna work. But what I can say is that the equivalent of 750 buys. I say it that way because UFC is going to get a bigger piece of the pie along with ESPN, but they're just going to have less buys. But if the equivalent of 750 buys, they'll be ecstatic. I think that's what you want out of a Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones versus DC, you want $1 million. All right, we have to take this last break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. When we come back, we'll talk to UFC strawweight Randa Markos. All right, ready to talk to Randa Markos, a recent winner in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. She fights in the strawweight division. She just defeated Angela Hill this past Saturday at UFC Fight Night, Thompson versus Pettis in Nashville, Tennessee. She also got a Performance of the Night award. And I'm telling you, Angela Hill's a solid fighter. Well, Randa
getting better
ran through her. It was really, really an impressive performance. That's her 5th win in the UFC, minus, of course, the ones from the Ultimate Fighter, where she had a very good representation of herself. So 9 wins overall now in her career. That was a sub-win that she got in this last fight. She joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Randa Markos? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, thanks.
All right, well, welcome back to MMAjunkie Radio. Congrats on your win this past Saturday. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody that goes out there and competes. I like Angela Hill, but the fact remains, Rand, I'm calling it like it is, you really, really put it on her. And that's an amazing win because she's a really tough fighter, but that you really, really stepped up your game even more. And I've always been impressed with your skill set.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know, I just been really focused. This camp, extremely focused, just to want to be myself again and enjoy fighting and do what I used to do, is go in there and look for submission and finish as soon as I can. Obviously, I wasn't going in there expecting it, but everything worked out as planned, and it was awesome. I'm really happy about it. It
was so much fun to watch you attack the arm. Yeah, and I know stuff happened before that. You almost, you had the back take and everything else, but when the different transitions that were taking place, you were flowing seamlessly from one to the next, and then it was actually pretty cool to watch her defense of it. You guys, that alone was just a battle within the war, we'll say. But that there's a clock ticking, and I'm sure you might either get a glance of it or maybe your coaches are yelling at you, but you stayed calm and composed, and you utilized the clock to your advantage until finally you were able to get that arm. Tell me, was the game in slow motion at that point when that little mini battle was going on, or do you feel urgency, and is there a panic that you're just very good at hiding?
I honestly, the whole entire fight felt like it was in slow motion for the first time ever. Everything was in slow motion. Like when she had me against the fence, I was like, all right, her head up under my chin, and we went over this. It was like I was talking to myself through the entire fight. And like when we went to the ground and I had her back, I knew right there, like I don't like to have the rear naked choke. I don't know, I just have a problem with finishing rear naked chokes. And when she pulled my hand over her head, I was like, all right, this is exactly what I want her to do. And from there, I threw my leg over. It was just I don't know. Yeah, it felt like slow motion. But once I got there, I was like, oh no, like how much time do I have? I didn't know how much time I had once I had the arm, but I just went for it. And I had time, so thank God. I had no idea.
Do you enjoy fighting, or is it just a job for you?
Oh no, honestly, it became a job for a little while, and it like wasn't fun for me. It was just like stress and pressure, but I'm really, really working on getting back to like just enjoying it. And this last fight, I really enjoyed myself. Through the entire week felt fun to me again, and I feel like enjoying it is a really, really important part of MMA and important part of like just being you in the cage.
Yeah, because the one thing I'm learning from women's MMA, because remember, you guys in the UFC aren't even a decade old. In the sport, of course, there's a lot of history there that goes further than a decade. But just in the UFC alone, we're getting there. And what I've noticed is a lot of the ladies, high level, ranked fighters, there's just some that, oh man, it's either fight week they don't enjoy or the pressures they don't enjoy, and then there's others that are able to shake it off. You know what I mean? Like I'll give you an example. Carla Esparza is a girl that we know pretty well, but she just does not like to do much media leading into the fight. She needs to be focused. You know what I mean? I've noticed with the males, we have some of those as well, but I noticed they're just a little bit more looser, and that's why I asked that question, because it seemed like this fight you had a lot of fun going out there. Of course, it's a lot easier when you had the win, but I've just noticed that a little bit more from the females, that their game faces are on all week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like, well, this is like my 11th fight besides the Ultimate Fighter and besides my fights before the UFC, and it gets easier, I feel, and once you like accept it, I feel like the biggest thing with this fight is I didn't go in there looking for a win. I went in there looking to win every situation, and by not focus so much on I need to win, I felt like I was able to enjoy everything, enjoy like the moment, and not rush everything. Like even in the back room, like waiting to be called out. In the past, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta, I get all this anxiety, freaked out. I can't wait till they call me out. I just want to hurry up and get this over with. And I was like relaxed, and I was just taking it in. I was like, all right, enjoy every moment, because this is gonna go by fast, and you're gonna regret that you didn't enjoy it. So I really focused on enjoying it, and it definitely was, in the past, I definitely did feel like, oh, I hate the media part. I hate seeing my opponent. I hate, like, it just sucks, but it sucked in the past, but, like, it is what it is, it's a part of the game, and this is our time, this is my moment, I gotta enjoy it, and I gotta make a statement. We don't, once this moment, that Saturday night's over, they're gonna talk about it for a couple of days, and then it's over, so you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think I know the main culprit as to why maybe the ladies are a little bit more uptight. Not all. I think it's social media, because fans are such assholes, and some of them, and they shred the ladies. The guys don't get it like the women get it. Like the women just have to put up with a lot of bullshit. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the main culprits. I don't know, but I see a big turnaround, especially when I see, like, I'm sure you've heard, Randa, and if not, like, there's 3 women headlining WrestleMania that's coming up. I think that's huge. You know what I mean? And and now, like I say, a lot of the female athletes, they headline UFC cards as well. So I'm glad that I'm seeing this turnaround here in a major sport.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We do get criticized a lot more. Not only with our fighting and everything, but with our looks and like what we post out there. Like it does suck, but it comes with it comes with the game, and you just have to learn to deal with it and learn to I don't know, ignore it. And I feel like things will change in time. It's still pretty new.
This is Randa Markos that we're talking to, UFC strawweight, coming off a big win over Angela Hill this past Saturday at UFC Nashville. On Twitter at Randa MMA. Goes, what do you have for Randa Markos?
Randa, you mentioned that you wanted to become fearless again, and I was thinking about your performance. Was that one step closer to achieving that goal, or was that actually achieving it? Because it seems like you got it under control.
I feel like I'm getting there. I'm not there yet. I feel like I'm getting there. I'm definitely, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable, and I'm a lot more acceptant of like everything that's going on around me, and like just fighting and not having so much pressure. So I'm definitely getting there. I've only been working on myself for a short period of time, and every day I'm getting a little closer to that. So I'm not completely there yet, and I'm excited to get there, and I'm excited to show everybody what I can do when I am completely fearless.
Randa, this may seem like a silly question, but hear me out. Ever since the Reebok era, there's so many fighters.
There's no such thing as a silly question, Ghost.
There isn't?
Yeah, no.
I come up with a bunch of them, George.
Okay.
All right. Ever since the Reebok era started, there's so many fighters that, it's hard to stand out. And the one thing I was thinking about was your hair. You think about Chuck Liddell and how many people identified him because of his haircut. If they just forgot his name or something, the guy with the mohawk, or even Don Fry, the guy with the mustache. And the one time that Don Fry shaved the mustache, people threw a fit. I was thinking about your hair, and I feel like you're one fight away from where if you keep it, I think people would be very upset if you ever changed your hair color. Do you ever feel that way? Like, is that kind of something that just has to stay at least through the fighting career?
Yeah, definitely. I want to keep it. Like, this is me. I like it. It helps me stand out. A lot of girls like turn to being really sexy and showing all this cleavage and stuff. But I really I don't know. You don't need to do that. I feel like you don't need to do that. Just if you're a little different, I feel like people will recognize you, especially with red, the color red. People just are drawn to it. So. I just felt like, why not dye my hair red? I'm sure, and it did work. I remember going to a UFC fight just to watch, and people were messaging me from all over the stadium saying, "Hey, I see you from here. I see you from here." So it definitely does work.
There you go. All right. So, Randa, now let me ask you this next question. For one, when do you want to fight again? Are you Do you like fighting twice a year, 3 times a year? I mean, you did 2 in 2016, 2 in 2017, 3 in 2018. What do you prefer?
I would like 3 or 4, to be honest. As long as I'm healthy, I would like to fight as soon as possible. Like, give me a couple months to prepare. You know, I take a week off after every fight, and then I'm back at it. Give me like 2 months notice, you know, a month's notice, and I'm ready. I don't like to wait too long, and I don't like to fight twice a year. Twice a year is just too long to, like, because I'm always training, so it sucks to be training for nothing when, you know, not having that goal at the end. And like last year I did 3 fights, but I really was hoping for that one fight before the year was up, but I didn't get it. So I'd like to fight 3 or 4 times if that's possible.
I want to see you on pay-per-views. So I'd like to see you either in Chicago for UFC
awesome.
238 or UFC 239 here, International Fight Week in Las Vegas. You know, those fight cards have a little bit more of a spotlight on them. But I'd like to see you, I guess, on one of those when a ton of media is out, you know what I mean, and people can continue telling the different stories of the athletes.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I don't ever like you know, that'd be awesome, but I don't ever like pressure myself into like what card I'm on or like where I am on the card. You know, I mean, it's really cool like being, you know, co-main in Mexico and everything, but like I never like put pressure on myself to where I am on the card or what card I'm on. So it's just like to enjoy it a little more. I don't like people tell me they want to come watch me fight. I'm like, just don't tell me, just show up. Don't tell me after that you were there. You know, it's just more like it puts a lot of pressure on me.
Ah, okay, all right, that's interesting. Hadn't thought of it that way. All right, well, like I said, that was a great performance on Saturday night, and I hope you. And it sounds like you're healthy, right? You're if the phone rings, you'll take a fight. You don't have any dings or bruises or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing. I feel great. I'm headed back in the gym on Monday, and I'll be ready for whatever comes my way.
Are those weight cuts brutal on your body, or do you got them down pat?
You know, I've worked with this meal prep company, the local kitchen in Michigan, and they've been helping me with these great meals, really healthy, and as long as I eat those, weight cut's pretty easy. Not easy, it's never easy, but it's easier than what it's been in the past, you know. Before I was cutting 15 pounds on for fight week, now it's like 8, 7, so it's been a lot easier.
And one last question here, and I know you're not all about the call out and all that, but what about the ladies that you've lost to? You know, a lot of fighters want to get that one back, they call it. So do you ever think about those names, or do you just like prefer fresher matchups, one you haven't had before?
I do think about it. You know, I think about some of the losses that I've had, and I feel like what I know now, I feel like I would have had a better matchup and would have went differently. But you know, the past is the past, and things happen for a reason, and I'm a different person today. So I don't care what, like, if they give me a rematch in the future, I'll definitely take it. But I'll be a different person. I'm not going to be that same person. So it doesn't matter who they give me.
I think it's going to be Randa Markos versus Cynthia Calvillo. This is me just taking a stab at it at UFC 239 in Las Vegas.
I like it.
That's just my guess.
That sounds like a good fight.
Yeah. All right. Well, Randa, if it does happen, you'll be in Vegas. We'd love to have you here in studio. But either way, we will keep covering you. You're very fun to cover this sport. You know, getting to know you through Tough, and then you haven't done our show a couple times. That's awesome. So congrats again on the win, and we look forward to your next fight booking.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys talking to me.
Okay. Have a nice evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. You too. Thank you.
On Twitter, at Randa MMA. What I like is she just struts to her own beat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool. It's refreshing.
A lot of females looked up to her after a season on Tough.
Yeah, for sure. So I got to give a shout out to myself for landing the Randa Markos interview.
You're fantastic.
And Michael Johnson. And Goes was able to work with Marvin to get Enzo Perez. He was a lot of fun.
He's a nice kid, huh?
Yeah, he was, man. So that's our show for today. Wow.
We'll be back tomorrow.
I guess they're happy that we're off. The people here in the sportsbook. We will be back tomorrow and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, with yet more editions of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. So for Gabby and Goes, I'm George. Enjoy your evenings. We'll see you in about 22 hours. Go out there and be a champion.